Is charging an electric van on EV chargers in the public, free or non-free chargers, acceptable? Well, today's video we're going to be opening this can of internet worms and unleashing probably the most furious comments in my comment section I've ever had on a video since I once said that Tesla don't build the best cars. Well, today's video we're going to be discussing why charging an electric van, even from a delivery network, on free chargers is totally acceptable. Earlier this week I went fishing for content for this video. Now, I posted this video on Internet Forum and we'll get back to this photo in a minute because it does have some more information to it. But this video was originally written because I saw some people park their delivery vans on some paid Pod Point chargers here in the UK. There were 8 chargers and 4 vans from a delivery network, all labelled up with their delivery network name, but all parked on the chargers that were paid. They were paying for the rate of charge, and someone was complaining how this is irresponsible and they shouldn't have it, and they should have it at their delivery hub centre, and that's where they should be charging their vans, not on these public accessible chargers. Even if they're paying for them, they should have their own private network. Well, we'll get back to some of this in a minute, because maybe those labelled up vans aren't actually part of the delivery network. Then I saw another post of some vans parked at a local supermarket here in the UK called Tesco. Tesco have a slogan, "Every little helps," and part of that they offer free charging here in the UK at some of their supermarkets. So you can pull in, use the AC chargers totally for free. Some of them have rapid chargers, they're actually charged, slightly discounted rate, but they have quite a few 7 and 22 kilowatt posts. Now, most of the supermarkets near me are all 7 kilowatt posts, but there is a mixture all over the country, all over the Tesco's, and someone posted a picture of some vans, electric vans, parked up, charging on these free chargers, and said, this is outrageous, how dare these people charge their work van on these commercial chargers completely for free. Well, we'll get back to that one in a minute too. Now, if you don't know, I actually sell used electric vehicles and vans, and recently we've bought a ton, I think about 5 or 6 in total, LDV EV80 electric vans. And I had a customer come in wanting a diesel van, and I talked this builder, that's a builder that builds, you know, bits and bobs in your house, fixes DIY, roofer, joiner, that kind of mixed builder. You know, your typical wouldn't buy an electric van in a million years. Sold him an electric van. He doesn't have a home charger, so I found out that he lives next to a Tesco with chargers. I suggested maybe he charged there with a mixture of maybe granny charging occasionally or granny charging on jobs, and that was enough to make him go, yeah, let's ditch the diesel, let's go to electric, let's reduce my carbon footprint. He doesn't really care about his carbon footprint, he cares about his pocket, but it benefits us as a society if I can convince a builder to go from diesel to electric. Now, we'll get back to him in a minute because it comes back into this thumbnail. So back to the thumbnail, I needed to take a picture for this video to do a thumbnail, and I decided to take my electric EV80 van to the local Tesco. And as I got to the local Tesco, what was parked there? My customer's van in exactly the same colour, exactly the same spec, already charging, already plugging in. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to plug mine in next to it, make a great thumbnail picture of 2 electric vans being charged up. So I did exactly that. And then I thought, do you know what? I wonder what kind of reaction this would get if, instead of posting it with a negative response going, I can't believe these vans are charging, if I posted it with a positive response. So I posted this picture up with the exact part above the picture, nothing else. I just put these bloody electric vans turning up at Tesco's free charging and using them as intended. Now, the comments were quite funny. In fact, some people were outraged that these electric vehicles were charging on electric vehicle chargers. How dare they charge on chargers? Terrible people. You know, what if they, you know, they obviously weren't doing any shopping, which I was stopping for a shop to get some food for myself, my wife, and my young 6-month-old son that's just turned 6 months. So if you want to thank me in the comments for having a son, you know, tell me well done. Mainly, you know, tell the wife well done for still living with me and making videos while I have a 6-month-old baby, and I'm currently skiving up here recording this video right now. So if you did leave a comment on that video, thank you very much for the content. If you have an electric company car and you're complaining about electric vans charging on electric charge points, you are no different. If you own a car but the company pay you a percentage of mileage, which at the UK is currently 45 pence a mile, even if it's an EV, and you're complaining about electric vans charging on electric charge points, you are no different. If you're a private individual and you have a home charger and you're complaining about electric vans charging on electric charge points, you guessed it, you are no different. If you don't have a home charger and you rely on these public chargers at public places like Tesco to charge your electric vehicle, well, guess what? You're also no different. If you charge at these public charge points that are free and you have a vehicle to grid charger at home and you use that energy that you've charged maybe when the grid's dirty to then export at your home for free power because you only care about your pocket, you are absolutely different. You do definitely belong in a special place in hell. Now, moving back over to the delivery vans, if you saw that original picture of maybe 4 vans parked at electric vehicle chargers, it had 6 bays, and you saw those vans and you thought, how dare that, you know, company, that delivery company, which is a 3-letter delivery company starting with D and ending with D, how dare they park their vans and not use them, you know, at a depot basically to charge there? Well, little fact for you, that delivery company, all their drivers are self-employed, so they actually own their own van. Even though it's labelled with the company, they actually own that van, it's their van. So even though it's labelled with that company, they don't work for that company, they work for themselves. They just happen to be, you know, taking a contract of delivering parcels on behalf of that company. So it's their van, not the company who do the deliveries. It's their own van. Now, this is exactly the same as if you had a car that you own and you're claiming 45 pence a mile. All they're doing is saving some extra money from their own pocket so they have more money, more available money. So if you use a free charger to save you money, that's exactly what these self-employed drivers are doing. Now, what about some of these free chargers that are at locations like malls, supermarkets, shopping centres, and they're free, so people are using and abusing the free right of free chargers? What if someone wants a full charge off a 7 kilowatt charger there and they have a large battery that may take 7, 8, you know, that kind of amount of time to charge to full? Are they in the wrong? Well, it completely depends. Technically, destination charges are intended to fill you at the end of the destination. Now, if you are complaining that someone's using one of these free chargers, say at Tesco, and you think they should be shopping in the supermarket and they're not, well, that's for Tesco to police. It's got nothing to do with you. It's up to Tesco to police. If Tesco want to introduce a 3-hour stay on that car park or you get a fine, Tesco will do that, and which they have done to some car parks where it was being massively abused. They've introduced a time limit you can stay in that car park. If you're there any longer, you get an automated fine. Perfect, they've sorted it in some locations. They obviously don't want to do it to all locations, otherwise they would have introduced it. What I actually think might be a good idea, and I'm suggesting this to Tesco, is that they link the charger, for, you know, because it's got RFID on those chargers, to a club card. Or they link your PodPoint account, which you use to confirm the charge, to your club card, and they use a fair usage policy. So although you may not have shopped there that day that you plugged in, they'll look at how much money you've spent in the store and decide whether you get credits for those free charges or whether they give it you a reduced rate. That's one way that they could police it. But if they don't want to do it that way, it's not up to you to police it on Facebook and moan about people getting a free charge. It's not even up for me to moan at those people that are charging to discharge during vehicle to grid. Again, it's morally wrong, but at the end of the day, if they want to do it, it's not up to me to police. Now, what about those people moaning that some of these van drivers from a large delivery company should use their own depot chargers, should have their own depot chargers installed in a hub, and they're the only ones that they should use on private land? Well, we're going to be looking at both sides of the coin, because I actually have some agreement in it and some disagreement in it. I actually see both sides of the story on here, this one. Now, it would mean that more public chargers are available. For example, let's say this depot had 20 vans, electric vans, and there was only 15 local chargers. It could mean that if you don't have a home charger and you rely on these chargers to, you know, get you home or charge you up during the week, it could mean that you are left stuck without a charge, especially if you don't beat these electric vans to these chargers at any point in time. It could be extremely frustrating, and I get those people. I actually completely agree. However, there could be an argument that maybe that charging network company that installed these chargers have a case to install more chargers. If they're being used all the time, they're always full, there could be an agreement that there should be more chargers. You could also say that these charge pump companies should maybe introduce a fee for overstay. If you're there for more than 10 hours, there's an overstay fee, which might encourage these vans not to be on them overnight, for example, because they may not be there back for the 10-hour period. If they agree to pay those overstay fees, then again, you have no right to moan at the vans. It's mainly you should be moaning maybe at the company that install them. Now, there is also another argument that, yes, you could have them at a depot, but that depot might not have room for parking these vans. It might not have the electricity grid there. It might not be a depot at all. It might just be a collection centre with no parking at all. And if that charging company can invest money into a private charger, I would argue maybe they should invest money in the chargers being publicly accessible so everyone gets to use them, but just reserve the hours when they can only be used by the electric vans in their fleet. That's a possible option that might work for both. But one thing we've not considered is, what about the van driver that doesn't park up with 15 of his mates? He just goes and parks at a local charger that's near to him. That might be because it's local to him, he lives there and he's self-employed. It just happens to be a labelled up van. That's up to him. If he wants to park where it's more convenient for him, I get that, and we should respect that that might happen. It might even happen where there's 10 parked together. You don't know if those 10 delivery drivers all live near each other. Now, where do you sit on this? Let me know down below in the comments. Do you agree with me that if a commercial van is parked there, it has the same rights as you? That for all you know, that driver could be self-employed, which is no different to if you are self-employed or working for a company but have a company vehicle, or even have your own vehicle that you claim company miles on. At the end of the day, these people are working. They're one-man bands, maybe privately individuals. They might have their own van. They might have, it might be a camper van inside for all you know. It just might just look like a commercial van from the outside with no windows. You don't know. So I personally think there's no problem with it, but I want to know what you think down below in the comments. I'd like to thank Peter J. Roberts of Oxon EVs for becoming a patron. If you want to know what Patron's about, check it out. There's also YouTube membership. Get early access to all my videos. Thank you very, very much for watching this week's video, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.